Back in October of 1943, the Declaration of Atrocities was signed. Now, this declaration stated that officials that were under trial would be sent back to the country in which they committed their crimes so that their punishment could conform to the laws of the country.
The United Kingdom, the United States, and the Soviet Union have received from many quarters evidence of atrocities, massacres, and cold-blooded mass executions which are being perpetrated by Hitlerite forces in many of the countries they have overrun. Those German officers and men and members of the Nazi Party who have been responsible for, or have taken a consenting part in the above atrocities, massacres, and executions will be sent back to the countries in which their abominable deeds were done in order that they may be judged and punished according to the laws of these liberated countries and of free governments which will be erected therein.
On August 8th, 1945, the Allied governments of the United States of America, Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union all came to an agreement called the London Charter. The London Charter would set the stage and the procedures for the Nuremberg Trials, and also found the International Military Tribunal, where each of these nations were to appoint a main judge and an executive prosecutor. Jeffrey Lawrence was seen as the main judge of the Nuremberg Trials.
The Nuremberg Trials were trials held to prosecute and punish Nazi officials that committed crimes against war, peace, and humanity. These trials started in 1945 and have continued throughout the 20th century and even into recent times.
Nuremberg was chosen as the location for the trials as it was very symbolic to the rise of the Nazi government in Germany, as they had had many rallies in Nuremberg, and it was very significant to their rise. However, the Allies wanted this to also be symbolic of their fall and the death of the Nazi government, and that's why they were keen on the trials taking place here. Due to the differing nationalities during these trials, they will be translated into English, French, Russian, and German as they occurred. As these trials were held against people who had committed crimes against peace, war, or humanity, they were not to be taken lightly. The punishments for many of these crimes that were committed were either lengthy prison sentences, lifelong prison sentences, or death sentences, where lots of times they would be hung in front of the public eye. This led to many officials who were facing these trials committing suicide before ever receiving their verdict. Out of the 24 officials that were initially indicted, 3 had already committed suicide to avoid their trial. Out of the 21 that remained, 12 were sentenced to death. The officials that were imprisoned were sent to the Spandau prison in Berlin. As time progressed, during the 1950s, some of these officials were actually pardoned and released.
Solomon Cole, due to your leadership during Kristallnacht and your aid in the designing of the final solution, I hereby sentence you to life imprisonment.
I didn't do it. I was told to do these things. If I didn't do them, I would die.
That is not a valid defense.
I was guided into my decisions.
Soldiers, take him away.